Welcome to Hard Script.
She laughed in my face. She said, you're not going anywhere. You'll leave, sulk for a week, and crawl right back. Because without me, you're nothing. It wasn't a fight. It wasn't even an argument. It was just a passing moment between dinner and the second episode of whatever Netflix series she was binging. She said it like a fact, like gravity, like she'd measured me, weighed me, and found me predictable. She wasn't scared of losing me. She didn't even think it was possible. I didn't say a word, not because I agreed, but because in that moment, I realized something. She didn't respect me. She expected me to stay, to endure, to forgive, to be there no matter how far she pushed. And somewhere along the way, she stopped hiding it. It was in the way she rolled her eyes when I spoke, the way she dismissed my ideas before I finished them, the way she scoffed when I said I was tired, like my exhaustion wasn't valid because it didn't serve her. But that night, that laugh, that smirk, it cracked something open. I watched her turn back to her phone, giggling at some DM like I wasn't even in the room. And I knew. I wasn't angry. Not yet. But I was done. Done being the predictable one. Done being the man she could step on with stilettos and expect him to kiss her feet anyway. She thought I wouldn't leave? She was right about one thing. I wouldn't just leave. I'd vanish. Without a scream. Without a slam door. Without giving her a single ounce of the drama she craved. Because the thing about people like her? They don't fear anger. They fear silence. They don't break when you explode. They break when you stop reacting. And that was the plan. No warning. No speeches. No last chance conversations. I wouldn't beg her to treat me better. I'd let her rot in the echo of her own arrogance. She thought she owned me. She forgot what happens when a man remembers his worth. And when she finally realized I was gone, there wouldn't be a trace left for her to chase. Just the ghost of someone she never thought had it in him to disappear. The next morning, I didn't pack a bag. I packed a strategy. While she slept in, head buried in silk pillows she never let me choose, I stood in the hallway, just watching her door. The same door I used to knock on with breakfast. With apologies. With hope. Not anymore. I brewed coffee, black. Left hers cold on the counter. Didn't say a word when she walked in yawning, hair a mess, wearing my t-shirt like it was some twisted badge of possession. She didn't notice the difference. Didn't catch the quiet in my steps. Didn't feel the shift in the air. Because she was used to my silence, meaning I'd already surrendered. She kissed my cheek, absently, and said, "Don't forget to pick up the dry cleaning. My dress for me is in there." Like I was the assistant, not the husband. Like she was doing me a favor by keeping me close. I nodded once. Calm. Cold. She left 10 minutes later. Didn't look back. That was her final mistake. I spent the next 2 hours moving in silence. Removed my clothes from her drawers. Boxed up my books from the shelf she never touched. Deleted the Spotify playlist we shared. Logged out of every account we had in common. By 11:30, the house looked the same. But I was already gone from it. I didn't touch her stuff. Didn't leave a note. Didn't slam a door. Because that's not how you haunt someone like her. She thrived on confrontation. Needed it. Fed on the attention like oxygen. So I gave her none. Just absence. Just space. Just that cold, hollow emptiness where I used to be. At noon, I left. Left the house. Left the keys in the drawer. Left the front door exactly as she liked it. Slightly open, like she always said it, looked welcoming. It didn't. It looked abandoned. And I let it be. Because by the time she came home, bags in hand, sunglasses on, new lipstick already smeared from laughter that wasn't mine, she wouldn't find a single thing out of place. Except for the silence. Except for the fact that I didn't text her all day. That no dinner was cooking. That no shoes waited by the door. She wouldn't realize it at first. She'd pour wine. Kick off her heels. Complain to a friend over speakerphone that I was in one of my moods again. But by morning, when the silence stretched into another hour, and the coffee didn't brew, and the phone stayed cold, she'd understand. I wasn't in a mood. I was done. She didn't text that night. Not once. Not a "where are you?" Not a "did I do something?" Not even a lazy emoji to test the waters. Because she thought I'd cool off. That I'd come back with lowered shoulders, maybe a late-night call, maybe a message saying, "Let's talk." She'd bet on my silence before. And I'd always cracked. Not this time. This wasn't a timeout. This wasn't me licking wounds, waiting to be chosen again. This was me walking through the fire and coming out clean on the other side. The first message came 11:07 a.m. the next morning. "Hey, are we good?" Read. Not answered. By 2 p.m., another one. You're acting weird. Just talk to me. Still nothing. That's when the cracks started to show. The curated confidence gave way to nervous pacing. I know her routine. She'd be checking her phone every 5 minutes, looking for the 3 dots that never came, replaying old voice notes to see if my tone changed, and she hadn't noticed. She posted a story that afternoon. A brunch photo with coworkers. A glass of champagne. Caption. Normal days. Grateful ones. Fake. Panic in disguise. Because the thing she never understood was that my silence isn't emotional. It's surgical. And when I cut, I don't miss. She tried calling that evening. I watched the screen light up. Didn't move. Didn't even blink. Because I knew the second I picked up, she'd weaponize the moment. Turn confusion into blame. Spin the narrative just enough so she was the one being abandoned. But you can't be left behind when you were the one who walked out first, emotionally, mentally, physically, months ago. She just didn't expect the door to close behind her. Around midnight, another message. This is cruel. No, sweetheart. Cruel is lying with someone while your heart's parked in another man's driveway. Cruel is asking for forgiveness without confession. Cruel is calling your betrayal space while you book hotels under a name I never knew. She wanted to control the fall. Control me. But I was no longer falling. I wasn't even in the building. She kept reaching. Kept throwing out bait. Memories. Playlists. Screenshots of texts from 3 years ago with heart emojis still attached. Remember this? You said you'd never leave me. Yeah. And you said you'd never lie. But here we are. She was starting to realize it wasn't a fight. It was a funeral. And she wasn't attending it. She was the reason for it. The knock came at 8:42 p.m. 3 short taps. Like she was testing if the house still remembered her rhythm. I didn't move at first. I stood in the hallway, lights off, heart steady, listening. Because you can tell everything you need from the way someone knocks. This wasn't urgent. It wasn't regret. It was rehearsed. I stepped closer to the door and looked through the peephole. There she was. Same hair. Same coat. Same look that used to get her out of any argument. Soft eyes, subtle pout. Like forgiveness was her birthright. Not tonight. She shifted on her feet, checked her phone, then looked up at the door again like it might open just because she wished hard enough. Another knock. Softer this time. Desperate now. Mark, she said. Yeah. She was hoping the name alone would still have power. It didn't. I just want to talk. Please. I stood there, silent. Still. Because the version of me who would have opened that door, who would have begged for answers, for effort, for crumbs of truth. He died the night I realized she'd rather lie well than love honestly. She tried again. I messed up. I know that. But don't do this. Don't shut me out. Shut you out? You shut me out every time you texted him back with a smile you stopped giving me. Every time you said, just a client. And I had to swallow the doubt with a nod and pretend I didn't notice your phone face down. Always. Every time I kissed your forehead goodnight, and you turned over like my touch was a chore. She kept going. I don't want to fight. I just need you to hear me. But I'd heard everything I needed the night I found her hotel booking confirmation. The one she never meant to leave open on the tablet. The one with dates that overlapped with the wellness retreat she swore had no cell service. I heard it in her silence every time she came home tired, but smelled like new cologne and old regret. Another pause. Then, I'm still the same person, Mark. You know me. You know I wouldn't. I opened the door. She froze mid-sentence. Because what stood in front of her wasn't the man she expected. Wasn't the one who used to break at her apologies. Wasn't soft. Wasn't waiting. I stepped into the frame, calm, composed. No, I said. I used to know you. But I don't think I ever really did. She blinked. Took a step back. Can I come in? She asked, quieter now. No. And then I closed the door. Slow. Final. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing a man can do is not let them in. 3 days passed. Not a single text. Not a knock. Not even a pathetic, just checking in. I thought maybe she'd finally gotten it. That silence wasn't a weapon, it was a wall. And I was behind it. Unreachable. I was wrong. The letter came folded in thirds, in a fancy envelope with no return address. Just my name in cursive, like she was still writing love stories that ended in redemption. I opened it out of curiosity, not interest. For pages. Front and back. The first half? Apologies. The same recycled phrases she used when I caught her lying about a last-minute site visit that turned out to be dinner with her ex. The second half? That was the twist. She wasn't begging anymore. She was threatening. If you think this ends with you walking away clean, she wrote, you're mistaken. We built a life. That doesn't disappear because you decided you're done. Then came the sentence that made my blood slow. I told my lawyer we were discussing reconciliation. So if I file for abandonment, that's on you. There it was. The switch. From victim to viper. And suddenly, I realized she hadn't come to apologize. She'd come to document it. That knock on the door? That was strategy. A staged moment for her side of the story. She didn't want closure. She wanted leverage. But she forgot something. I don't bluff. I don't panic. And I sure as hell don't play defense when I've already built my own offense. That same night, I forwarded her letter to my attorney, the one I quietly hired 2 weeks before I left. Then I printed something of my own. Receipts. Literal ones. Hotel bookings. Screenshots. Timestamps from shared calendars. Even the florist's email confirming a delivery to a suite under a name that wasn't mine, on our anniversary. I put them in a folder. Mailed it. Tracked it. Delivery confirmed. 11:14 a.m. the next morning. She never wrote back. But I heard through a mutual friend, one she forgot still liked me more, that her reconciliation story crumbled the moment her lawyer saw the documents. Turns out, lies don't hold up in court, especially when you printed them in color. And that's when it hit me, the final twist. She didn't want me back. She wanted control. But now, the only thing she controlled was the size of the folder I handed to legal. It was a Thursday. I was at the rooftop bar downtown. Nothing special, just quiet. Just mine. I'd made it a habit lately. Same spot. Same drink. Same piece. Then she walked in. Hair curled like she used to for anniversaries. Heels too loud for a just casual entrance. And not alone. He followed behind her, tall, polished, doing that thing guys do when they think confidence is enough to hide insecurity. Arm around her waist. Fake laugh already loaded. I didn't flinch. She didn't see me at first, which told me everything. This wasn't spontaneous. She knew I came here. This was intentional. A performance. She wanted me to see her happy. Moved on. Reclaimed. Like dragging around someone new erased the sin of lies she left behind. They sat 2 tables over. Close enough to be seen. Far enough to pretend it wasn't planned. Her eyes flicked to me once, fast, like a check-in. Then again, longer. I raised my glass. Just once. No smile. No wave. Just acknowledgement. Then I flagged the server. Whatever they're having, I said, it's on me. He blinked. You sure? I nodded. Absolutely. Consider it a farewell gift. It took 5 minutes. 5 minutes for the server to walk over and deliver the message. I watched her freeze, fork halfway to her mouth. Watched him lean in, confused. Watched her lips move in quiet explanation. Then she looked at me again. This time, her face cracked. Because she came there to win something. But I wasn't playing. And he was just a prop in a story I'd stopped reading chapters ago. I finished my drink. Left a tip. Walked past their table without a word. She opened her mouth, maybe to speak, maybe to chase. I didn't stop to find out. Because the truth is, you don't compete with your past. You bury it. It was raining when she came. I remember that because the knock was softer than the thunder. 3 quick taps. Familiar. Like she thought memory would be enough to open doors again. I didn't move right away. Just stared at it. Because I knew, once I opened that door, it wasn't just her standing there. It was everything she pretended never happened. When I finally pulled it open, she was standing there in a soaked hoodie, hair matted, holding a paper bag like it was a peace treaty. Didn't think you'd answer, she said, voice barely above the rain. I almost didn't, I said. She tried to smile. It died fast. Can I come in? I stepped aside. Not because she deserved it. Because I wanted her to see the life I'd built without her. The apartment was clean. Quiet. Honest. Not flashy. Not cold. Just calm. She stood in the middle of the room like she didn't know where to place her hands or her guilt. I brought your favorite, she said, holding up the bag. That ramen place you. Say what you came to say, I cut in. Her eyes darted, searching for something to hold on to. There was nothing. I wanted to apologize. For everything. I know that doesn't fix it. It doesn't, I said flatly. She swallowed hard. I miss you. You miss the version of me that tolerated you. She blinked, jaw tightening. I wasn't trying to hurt you. No. You were trying to keep both worlds from collapsing. You were just bad at math. That one landed. She stepped closer. I just need 5 minutes. A real conversation. No performances. No lies. I nodded once. Sat down. Let her speak. And for the next 5 minutes, she poured. Tears. Regret. Half-broken explanations. All the words she'd saved for when she thought I'd still care. I didn't interrupt. Didn't ask questions. Because I already had all the answers. When she finished, I stood. She looked up at me like she was waiting for a verdict. Thank you, I said. She blinked. That's it. I nodded. Because this wasn't about you being sorry. This was about me being done. Her voice cracked. So that's it. No chance. No. Anything. I opened the door. You had a whole life to give me something real. You chose the performance. She stepped into the hall. Stopped. Turned back, eyes full. I still love you, she said. I smiled. Not cruel, just tired. I don't. And then, I closed the door. Not softly. Not violently. Just finally. The next morning, she texted me. Not long paragraphs. No poetry. Just 3 words. Are you sure? I didn't reply. Because the kind of certainty I felt now didn't beg for reassurance. It stood on its own. An hour later, another message. I still believe in us. But it came from a number I hadn't seen before. Burner phone. New SIM. Another fresh start, for her. Not us. Because that us? It had died the moment she traded loyalty for convenience and figured she'd fix it later. Now it was later, and she was running out of future. That day, I didn't check her socials. Didn't scroll through throwback photos or wonder what she was thinking. I walked 3 miles in silence. Through parks we never visited. Streets that had nothing to do with our story. That was the difference now. She was still trying to resurrect something. I was building something new. Later that week, she sent a voice memo. 38 seconds of shaky breathing, half sentences, and what she probably thought would sound like vulnerability. I didn't listen. I deleted it. Because what she never understood was this. You don't lose a man by cheating on him. You lose him by teaching him how peaceful it is without your chaos. And once he's lived in that stillness, he'll never come back to noise. That Friday, I met someone new. Nothing serious. Just coffee at a bookstore. Conversation that didn't feel like an emotional chess match. She didn't ask about my ex. She didn't talk over me. She just listened. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I had to prove I was worth staying for. That night, my ex texted again. You really moved on that fast? I didn't answer. Because healing isn't fast or slow. It's quiet. It's subtle. And it never announces itself. It just shows up one day when you wake up and realize. You didn't think about her once. Next up, she tries one last card. A memory. A guilt trip. A soft confession. But he's no longer the man who falls for unfinished stories. Because his chapter's already closed. Vuskazali. Dalsha. ChatGPT Skazal. Fire Part 9. She thought the past could save her. But I'd already burned the bridge. She didn't text for 2 days. I thought that was it. Then, just after midnight on a Tuesday, I got a photo. One we'd taken years ago. Snow falling in Colorado. She was laughing. I squinted, cheeks red. My arm around her waist, hers around my neck. One of those photos that used to make me pause. Under it, just one line. We were happy once. Can't we find that again? But here's what she never understood. You don't get to weaponize memories you abandoned. You don't get to call on the good times when you built the bad ones on top of them. I stared at the photo. Not with nostalgia. With clarity. That smile she had. It was real, back then. But so was everything that came after. The lies. The distance. The late nights she tried to rewrite with perfume and silence. You can't resurrect trust with pixels. And love doesn't come back because you're lonely. It only ever stays because you chose it when it was hard. And she didn't. She chose convenience. She chose secrecy. She chose someone else's arms and figured I'd still be here, waiting for the credits to roll so I could forgive her again. But I didn't want to watch the movie anymore. I'd walked out of the theater. That night, I archived the photo. Not because it hurt, but because it didn't mean what it used to. And that was freedom. The next morning, she sent another text. You really won't talk to me? No, I wouldn't. Not because I was angry, but because I was done carrying the weight of someone who never lifted mine. It was raining. Not heavy, not cinematic. Just a slow, cold drizzle. The kind that makes the air feel heavier than it is. I was finishing a cup of black coffee, barefoot on the hardwood, when I heard the knock. 3 times. Even before I looked through the peephole, I knew it was her. I felt it, like a pressure change in the room. like her presence was still wired into the atmosphere, even after weeks of silence. I stepped forward, quiet, and there she was, hair damp, hoodie pulled tight around her. No umbrella, no dramatics, just her, standing there like she was trying to look smaller than I remembered. Like if she shrank enough, maybe I'd forget what she did. She knocked again, this time softer, then spoke through the door. Please, just 5 minutes. I said nothing. You don't even have to talk, she continued. Just listen. But I had already listened. To her lies. To the pauses between her answers. To the silence that grew louder every time she said, I love you, without looking me in the eye. She tried again. I know I messed up. No, messed up is when you forget a birthday. Or miss a call. This wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Repeated. Reinforced. Defended. And now she was standing on my doorstep like she hadn't torn it all down with her own hands. I've changed, she said. Funny how quickly people change when they lose control. When the version of you who stayed through everything finally stops answering the door. She slid something under the door. A note. I didn't pick it up. Didn't even glance at it. Because the apology I needed? It wasn't written. It was action. It was loyalty. It was not needing this scene in the first place. She stayed for a while. 10 minutes, maybe more. I watched her shift her weight from foot to foot. Wipe her face. Look up at the rain like it might offer her a sign. Eventually, she left. And this time, I didn't follow. I didn't text. I didn't soften. Because the version of me she remembered, the man who forgave, who waited, who bled quietly and still opened the door. He was gone. She knocked on a door to a place that didn't exist anymore. And behind it was someone who finally knew. Peace doesn't need closure. It needs boundaries.